Okay, I'm just going to go over this real quick because today was a horrible day. First clue for the day. Norman's pointed it out yesterday. I hadn't even paid attention. Look at the amount of news. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Up until 9:30, we were just pounded with news. I turned off low impact news. If I turn that on, I mean, we just had a shit ton of news today. So, if you see something like this, I would just plan on not trading. Or, and this is something we can go over later, but maybe switching up to a way higher time frame. But with bins, I would probably just say no. I mean, I don't have a reasonable way to say how to trade on it today, on a day like today. What I wanted to cover real quick, and since we were talking about it in the chat room and I got tired of typing, plus I'm running out of time because I am going to start cleaning up my house since today's a shitty day, with the traps. Traps serve two purposes. They're going to tell you two things. They're going to tell you where and how. When you set a trap, the first thing it should be, and let's set a couple, and I was showing you, I think, this chart. So the first thing we have is where we want price to hit. Once you've identified where you want price to hit, the next thing you need to consider, and if you came in late, I am recording. This is just a real quick one. We're going to discuss traps real quick, and I showed a Forex Factory. The amount of news today, y'all should have been just probably not trading at all. Okay, so I just set a couple traps just for the hell of it. I didn't do the full setup. Yes, I am recording. I didn't do the full, what the hell you call it? I didn't put the alerts in it. But the first thing when you set a trap is where you want price to hit it. The second consideration when you want it with a trap is how you want price to hit it. So, for instance, like if you had set a trap here, we still didn't know what was going on, but price blew through it. Even though we had a trap there, it did blow through it, but it did show some response to it. So, most likely, if I hadn't seen this big trend up and if this had just been a normal day, I would have lost a trade here. But since we had a big trend coming up, if you can make that look more realistic, we had this huge trend coming up and then coming down. What I showed y'all was the Fibos. What I was watching was this. This came down to 61.8. This is... Yeah, I'm recording, so... Okay, but what I was saying is this is the 61.8 point. That's the retrace off this. So price was going to make a decision here to either continue downwards to correct this upward movement, or it was going to bounce here and move upwards. So the next thing we should be looking at is where's the next area of interest on this, which is right here. Price is going to do one of two things when it gets up to here, or maybe slightly before it, but it's going to go down, or it's going to continue up, and this was just a big A, B, C movement, and D is our upward movement up. So we have either a potential continuation of the trend, it did not consolidate, and our consolidation area would have been here. So we already went into... Our first area to wait on was here. Did price come down? No, it didn't. So now we know it's moving up. It didn't consolidate, so now we only have two options left what the market's going to do. It's either going to continue up through this area, or it's going to hit this area and bounce, and now we're into a ranging market, and it's time to trade. Like I was saying with the trap, so we set a trap. If price comes up to here, maybe we have an expanding range. Whoop-de-doo. But what we want to focus on is if price hits here, we already have our where, is how price hits it. If price shoots from here up to here in big candles, then we have our where, but our how wasn't met. So whenever you draw a trap, you need to keep in mind where you want price to hit and how you want price to hit it. Honestly, I'm preaching the traps because the people that have been using me and sending me charts have been doing a lot better with it. It's taken out a lot of the emotions out of their trading. So whenever you set a trap, just where you want price to hit, and then keep in mind how you want price to hit it. If those two things aren't met, then yes, you have a good trap, but if price shoots straight up to here, we probably have an upward trend. If we see a cycle, like it goes down, up, and then down, and let's say it hits the 23.6, and then it comes up to here, that's good. We have a ranging market trending slightly upwards, and these levels are probably going to hold. If price just continues up to this, then no, we don't. What's going to happen is when price hits this zero area, I would expect somewhere between, draw it a little bigger, I'd expect price to drop back down somewhere here and then make a wave up to here. So within the next, I would say, hour or two, we could see these levels be hit. But see how I'm already planning on the how I want price to do it? Does it do it my way? Who freaking knows? It might just hit here, then drop back down. But if price, I already know how I want it to move. If price comes up to here, drops down, and then comes back up, for me, that now I have a very nice trap because it did it where and how I wanted it. The how is going to take time. It's just going to be learning the market and how it moves. Like I wouldn't have expected a lot of people to be able to identify this FIBO line here and see that we had an A, B, C, and then we had a potential A, B, with a C, I'm sorry, A here, B here, C, and this is a potential upward D movement. Now if we look, this isn't a valid one. I'm just going to try and show the things that I've been seeing today and how I learned to sit and wait, because if you know what you're looking for, it makes it a little bit easier to wait. So if this was A, B, and this is C down here, can anyone tell me, why do we not think that this is the D leg of it? Is there a hint? If this is A, this is B, and this is C, is there a hint why this is not a valid D? This is going to come down to FIBO basics. C broke lower than A. Perfect. So we don't have a valid FIBO set up here. So most likely what we're going to be aware of then is 1, 2, 3, is that's why I don't think we're going to have an upward movement continuation. I think it's going to stall out around here and go down. I think we're moving into a ranging market. That is my thoughts behind it, and Paul got it perfect. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I want to make sure price moves how and where together. All that makes sense on how I kind of came to that. We had A, B, C, which is our movement. It did come down and it respected the 61.8, but if we start looking at it as A, B, C as an upward movement, C rules it out. It's not a valid FIBO move. So basically what I'm looking at is 1, 2, we're in our third move of a range now. See how I could identify it a little faster? The reason being is because C was lower than A. So that's kind of your little hint that we may be moving into a range. Hopefully that makes sense for everyone. If it doesn't, jump over to the forums, and in the current market conditions, I have 3 FIBO videos that will start you off with FIBOs in a basic manner, and then move into advanced and a little more advanced. And if you need the link for that, just just go to the forums, look under, let me see, I'll find it real quick and show it to you. Come on, little monkeys. You go into Trading Access Us. Once you're in the updates, I believe it is current market conditions. This is it. These are 3 FIBO videos. This one starts off very basic, and they get a little more advanced, a little bit more advanced. Just so you know, TA Help, there's a V3 version almost ready. Cool. Any questions or anything? Q. I'm guessing that means question. Go for it. Did the Q mean question? How should I respond to price beginning to reverse when heading towards trap? Well, let's look at this one. I mean, price is going to go here, down, and let's say price gets right into this area and reverses down. The reason I wouldn't care too much is... Now, it depends on how close. If it's very, very close, then remember that those act like magnets. Here, let me just do this so I can show you. In the case of the one that we're looking at, is what I'm expecting is price to go here, right into this area, bounce down, but not go as low. I expect it to stay a little bit higher, and then I expect it to come up to my trap. Now, if price comes up into this area and then reverses down, I would say we have an expanding market, and I might have missed my mark. But in my opinion, if this thing continues up that way for this long, because that's going to get a little confusing. I'm looking at the amount of candles this way and the amount of candles this way. So we had... You sure you want me to explain this? This is all going to go down to Ken Chow. The amount of... what I look at is how many candles are in this upward movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in the upward movement. How many in the downward movement? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we had 12 in the downward movement. So the upward and the downward movement, even though it's bigger, it took about the same amount of time. Now we're in the upward movement. So let's take a look at where we're at now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're already 11 candles in. See right there, they're not matching in size, but you see the pattern? Each cycle has 11 to 12 candles in it. That's where I'm kind of thinking this is the peak, and it's going to come down for 11 to 12 and move up for 11 to 12. Does that make sense at all, or is that just a pain in the ass? I know sometimes it's a lot to take in, but these type of things will come to you naturally over time if you're aware of them. Just taking into account the number of candles on the swings, if you can see consistent patterns, it'll help a little bit. Because it can help. I mean, a lot of the not driving yourself fucking nuts is if you can figure out a pattern or just and when I say pattern, I don't mean visually. If I can count 12 candles up, 12 candles down, 12 candles up, what makes me think the next one's not going to go 12 candles down? And if it goes 8 candles down, what does that mean? That the downward trend is weakening. And then I would expect to see the upward move be more, like maybe 13 or 14. I know that I'm pulling this out of nowhere on y'all because haven't explained this one before. But that's kind of how I look at things too. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. But again, if I mention something in a video, like since I'm going to post this one up, you can feel free to ask me about it then, or say, well, is this what you were talking about? We have 12 up, 12 down, 12 up, and then 8 down and 15 up. Does that mean the strength of the trend is increasing? A lot of the fancy little indicators out there do it for you, but I guess my point is me being able to do this, it keeps me from going nuts because I can kind of see what I expect the market to do. And if it doesn't do it, no big deal. But if it does do it, I know this area up here for me is going to be a happy area. So I just want to see if the market moves up there. Now if it goes 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, I know the market's just slightly trending up, but each movement is holding steady. The size doesn't matter too much. The number of candles in it matter to me. Does that make sense? Because what it means is I have a more reliable move up to this point because it's following a pattern up to this point. So I could honestly remove everything from here and say 12 candles up, put a call for a little bit, 12 candles down, 12 candles up, put a put, 12 candles up, put a call, 12 candles up, put a put. Now if this thing moves down 12 and it hits this area, I could say take a call up, and when it comes to here, if I'm still doing that 12, I could say put a put, because it's showing a repetition. It helps me from going nuts by being able to see those types of things. And it also helps me on the how I want price to move to my trap. Yeah, and don't get pattern confused with a W or a V or a freaking bullish flag or whatever else there is. When I see pattern, keep it simple. Just count the number of things and see if you can see when. And this is when we have stair-stepping price. I guess I should clarify that. See how we're stair-stepping now. I love stair-stepping patterns because for me, a stair-stepping pattern can tell me the strength of a trend. This right here, over here, this whole area, I couldn't have done shit with this. This here, couldn't have done shit with it. This here, nothing. We formed into a stair-stepping here. That I can work with. So this here, I would have been lost as anyone else. I would have been it, take the trend, and hope for the freaking best. Well, I mean, I would have said take a pullback and hope for the best, but you're not always going to know what the market's doing, but just learn a little bit at a time, and when you see stair-stepping, start counting your candles and see if you can see a pattern, a numerical pattern, not a visual pattern. I guess that would explain it better. Other than that, I gotta sneeze. Any questions? Oh, shit. Let's see what it's doing now. So now it is moving downward slightly. So again, what are we going to look for? Around 11 or 12 candles if it hits into this area. And this is why sometimes you'll see me take trades that aren't TA based. If it hits this area in about 11 or 12 candles, I might take a call. And this is where you'll sometimes see my 15-minute or 30-minute calls, because I can see an obvious pattern. So I know if it hits here, if it's not overbought, oversold, but it hits the area, I say, okay, it's going to have room to wiggle, but I wait for it. My entry would be below the 161.8, and I would take a call upwards, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. Hopefully that explains, too, why I take some oddly timed trades. AUD USD chart. Okay, so for AUD USD, what's the question on it? Not as pretty. We do have ABC. If you want to do a 5-0 look at it, you could say kind of similar, except for we have consolidation. So here's A, and see that B is not as pretty, but here's B, and here's A, B. C is not anywhere near as pretty. I drew that wrong anyway, but hold on a sec. A, B, C, A, B, C. Yeah, I drew it wrong. I'm tired. This one we could go with 1, 2, 3. The consolidation here is what'll screw it up, because it's not really a stair-step pattern. When I say the consolidation, we have a little bit of consolidation here, a little bit here. But what would you expect to be coming out of right here? So looking at that, what do you think is going to happen right here? I think price is going to drop maybe 1 or 2 candles, and then I think we're going to get consolidation again here. Yep. So can you see the same thing? Consolidation, upwards move. Then it comes down, consolidates, upwards move. So I think we're going to get a little bit of move down into this area, get a consolidation, and then an upwards move again. So it's similar. This one isn't as clear cut, but using the same logic of... This one's more of a visual pattern. But if you want to take a look at it, count out of consolidation. So here's consolidation, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Came out of consolidation again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many candles down into consolidation do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's count this one. 4 or 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 candles in, it should consolidate. Same type of thinking. Kind of get it? What... I mean, shoot me charts if you start. If you do this, post the charts in the Skype room, please, and I'll start going over them too. It's just another way of looking at it, I guess. And again, like I said, until I see things, a lot of this shit I forget. Ken Chow is one of the first methods that I learned how to trade with. EMAs and Ken Chow is how I basically learned to trade Forex. After I lost all my money, that was one of the first things I headed it into, because the reason I liked Ken Chow is it was Fibonacci based. So but part of his is it's called superstructure over time or something. But when he talks superstructures, we're just talking things like that. Let me see if there's any other ones. Okay, so here is we looked at AJ, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Because I had that one marked up all to hell. So if we look at cable, we can't really do that because I don't see it. We have consolidation, then a move up, move down, move up. We have a possible stair step here, but it just looks to me like upwards trend. I don't see anything. And zooming out a little bit, remember, will help you spot these. If you're zoomed in, you're not going to see them as close. This one, can we see anything here to deal with? No, we don't. So what are we sitting and doing? We're sitting and waiting. We have an A, B, C here. So if we were looking at it, so here's our ABC. I'll zoom in on this one. Here's A, B, C. This was our move up to D. So what we'd be looking for is if price drops to here and comes through it, we have a downward move. If price comes all the way down to here and moves up, then we're in the same thing as we were with AJ. We might start seeing a stair-stepping forming. This would be our area of interest to see if we're continuing a trend or forming a range. What I mean by that, I'll draw it again. This went from a quick video to a little bit longer, but oh well. Hopefully y'all learn a little. Okay, so here's A, B, C. This is our D movement up. So our D movement up is here, this line here. So we're either getting into another ABC then. Price is going to do one of two things here. It's going to do an A, and this is going to be our B, A, B, C, and down, or it's just going to hit here. Basically, without confusing y'all too much, price is going to come down to here, and this is our area of interest, because this is our right here is our area of interest at the bottom of the C mark. If price breaches below that, then we would say that price is going to head down. If it comes around this area and bounces up, and then we look for it to start turning into a range, where is our area of interest if it's going to turn into a range is up here. So we would have a small potential range forming. Cool there? How that makes it easy on what I'm looking for every time I'm waiting. When I go into my waiting mode, that's what I'm waiting for to form. Does that make sense a little? If I don't have the ABC pattern, I can't come out of waiting mode. It's a do not trade. Hopefully that helps. That's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. I'll post it up to the forums. Wow, 21 minutes. It is way longer than I thought. Hopefully that helps. I'll post it up. Have a good one. I am pretty much done for the day. I'm going to go clean my damn kitchen. It is a mess.